Hi, let's discuss the second group of ratios, the asset utilization ratios. As a group, the asset utilization ratios shows the efficiency of the business in utilizing their assets. So for example here, we are going to calculate total receivable turnover and we want a bigger number, how fast the business is able to turn over its receivable or collect its receivable. We want that to happen faster. We are going to calculate the receivable turnover in days, how long it takes for the business to collect this receivable. For this ratio, we are going to want a smaller number because we want to collect receivable faster. We are going to calculate total fixed asset turnover, how do we make the most of our fixed assets as a business, and basically there are five asset utilization ratios that we are going to go through using the data from the balance sheet and income statement that I showed you earlier. So let's start with the first three of the asset utilization ratios. The first one is receivable turnover. How fast I turn over my receivable. For this one, I want a bigger number. And I'm going to calculate it as sales divided by accounts receivable. The sales number we used on the profitability ratios is 4 million from income statement. And the receivables, if you go back on the balance sheet, that's the number. So we do the calculations and we have a receivable turnover is 11.4 times, which is higher than industry average. So that's good. Our business turns over its receivable 1.4 faster than industry average. Average collection period. This is going to be in days. How long it takes us to collect our receivables. And we are going to calculate it as accounts receivables divided by average daily credit sales. Accounts receivable we already used here 350,000 and average daily credit sales, this funny looking number here. The way it's calculated is you see the word daily, average daily credit sales. These sales, total 4 million sales, are for the year. So we divide this number by 360. For some reason, they consider 360 number the days in the year instead of 365. So if you divide 4 million by 360, this is the number. It's called average on every day on average. I sell on credit $11,111. So doing the calculations, I collect my receivable in 32 days, which is really 4 days faster than industry average. So that's good. So for this ratio, a smaller number is better. The third ratio is inventory turnover, how quickly my business turns over its inventory. And I do the calculations as sales divided by inventory. Sales, we already used this number, income statement, and inventory is coming from the balance sheet. Do the calculations, we have inventory turnover 10.8 times, which is 3.8 faster than industry average. So all three ratios have better results than industry average. So that means that my business on average performs better than the industry on these three ratios, on these three asset utilization ratios. Moving on to the next ratio, we have two more ratios. Fixed asset turnover is calculated as sales divided by fixed assets. How quickly I turn over my fixed assets. Sales 4 million divided by fixed assets 800,000 comes out to be 5 times, a little below industry average. Probably because my business has 800,000 in fixed assets, which is really 50% of total assets. Probably our business purchased this year more fixed assets to ensure future growth. and it shows into the turnover, slightly lower than industry average. And finally, the last asset utilization ratio is total asset turnover, calculated as sales divided by total assets. And after we do the calculations, we have a total asset turnover of 2.5 times, which is above industry average. So this is very favorable. So that was the second group of financial ratios, and we are going to do some applications on this group next.